Well, here's a little bonus episode because I had a realization that my great grandfather Herman Bernstein um, corresponded with the subject of our previous episode, Jane Addams, on the subject of peace. In the last year of both of their lives, which was 1935, as everyone in the whole world started getting more and more convinced. I mean, Bernstein starts by speculating that Hitlerism will launch a world war that will this time annihilate the world, perhaps. So he regarded peace as very urgent. Okay, Herman Bernstein. And I mean, so I just got this. I guess I've been ordering his books off of Abe Books and from dealers, and I just got this one. Can We Abolish War? He sent letters to 100 eminent people, intellectuals, statesmen, heads of state, authors, wise men, philosophers, and tried to and asked them how we can end war or how we can prevent the coming onslaught or the seemingly coming onslaught. Now, I guess just to, I don't know, tell you about my great grandfather, Herman Bernstein. He was quite a famous journalist in his day. I mean, I guess I'll read you the bio on the back of this very book, Can We Abolish War? I was really psyched to find one with the dust cover on it. In his introduction, okay, Mr. Bernstein, former United States minister to Albania. This is at the end of his life, the bio. The ambassador to Albania. My mother was sent by her parents alone across the ocean to live with Herman Bernstein in Tirana for a year. 5-year-old in 1931. Has been foreign correspondent for the New York Times, the New York Sun, the New York Herald, and other important newspapers. He is the author of Celebrities of Our Time. That's all interviews with famous and eminent people. Herman Bernstein interviewed Trotsky while Trotsky was in power in the Bolshevik regime. He interviewed Tolstoy. He interviewed Einstein. It's amazing. Okay, like I guess I'm not doing this about Herman Bernstein per se. I guess I am, but I'm not going to do a full scale presentation on my own great grandfather, whom I'm just still finding out about. He's author of Celebrities of Our Time, The Road to Peace, The Willie Nicky Correspondence, The Truth About the Protocols of Zion, and is the translator of the works of Leo Tolstoy, Maxim Gorky, Leonid Andreev. I should say he interviewed Kropotkin as well. Being an anarchist is amazing. And eminent translator as well. Founder of the Jewish Daily, The Day, in Manhattan, Der Tag. Among many other accomplishments, man. Okay, so he covered the Russian Revolution and the aftermath for these New York dailies, especially the Times, and the aftermath of in Civil War. So he had seen and covered war, and he was Herbert Hoover's official biographer. All these volumes feature interviews with Herbert Hoover because that's how he got to be ambassador to Albania, was because he had a friendship with Herbert Hoover and was in a relationship too. He was a writer for Hoover. He wrote the official campaign biography of Herbert Hoover, which was Herbert Hoover, the man that brought America to the world. Now, I just got to point out that he was Herbert Hoover's biographer, and his daughter, my grandmother, Hilda, my mother's mother, was a Communist Party member, and married a Communist Party member, and raised her kid to be a commie, kind of. All right, so there had to be, I don't know much about this. There had to be amazing conflicts, but Herman Bernstein definitely had his heart in the right place about peace. And definitely in 35. Okay, so his previous book, The Road to Peace, and I ordered this from Abe Books, and it came autographed to MC Barton from Herman Bernstein. How do you do this, man? I can not do it. 26. That's the year it was published. And this is interviews with famous Americans and Europeans on how we can achieve peace. Bernstein covered the peace conferences that followed and negotiations that followed the First World War. He actually covered and knew Teddy Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson. Teddy Roosevelt wrote an introduction to one of Herman Bernstein's books, which revealed a secret correspondence between Kaiser Wilhelm and Tsar Nicholas before the First War. The Bolsheviks, I think, leaked it to Herman Bernstein. Okay, when he was over there covering them in the immediate aftermath of the revolution, and the Bolsheviks were releasing some of incriminating material from the Tsarist archive. I mean, how about that? Okay. All right. So, in the last year of his life, and in the last year of Jane Addams' life, Herman Bernstein sent out these 100 letters asking eminent people how a peace can be achieved. Could we actually achieve a permanent peace? It's a classic question of the early 20th century, I guess. It was very urgent. Right? It was definitely urgent in the 30s. And like I say, he diagnoses Hitlerism as and he kind of blames the breakdown of the negotiations, which he witnessed and covered following the First World War, for a lot of the problems. Okay. Yeah, but he's really clear on Hitler in 35. Like, this is a complete disaster, right? For Jewish people, among others. I mean, he's a pure Jewish person, man. And he's an ambassador, U.S. ambassador. Okay, I don't know how common that was. Maybe I need to relook that up or whatever. All right, so we got a response from Jane Addams. And like I said, they both died in 35. I should figure out the exact dates or whatever. Wouldn't it be funky if they died on the same day or something? But anyway. And she says this, and I mean, it's familiar. She's doing what she does. It's also sharp, and it's actually a good summary of Jane Addams on this topic, especially the late in her life. It's very different than 1915 when she was leading these the Women's Peace Party and so on. Jane Addams is described as a social worker and Nobel Prize winner. 3 necessary conditions for the solution of the problems of peace and war, which the older peace movement necessarily lack, easily suggest themselves. And so I think she's saying that, and she's talking about her own previous peace movement. She's saying that the conditions are actually better. This is kind of pretty typical optimistic Jane Addams. Conditions have improved, or like in the sense that it's more possible now than it was before to have world peace. Although, she's also realistic that we're far from realizing that possibility. The first is, necessary conditions for the solution of the problem of peace and war. Jane Addams. The first is technical, the possibility of rapid and universal intercourse. This now exists, and there is constant progress in this field. It is true that the effect of shrinkage of time and space depends on what use we make of the opportunities and may increase friction rather than friendship. Like I say, she's realistic too. On the other hand, our new opportunities make practicable a world organized for cooperation where war shall be eliminated. Like communication is so much better. Trade is so much more intertwined. Like there's, instant communications between capitals. Okay, that wasn't possible, 50 years ago even, or 100 years before. The second is psychological. Peace can come about only if men are determined to have it. Wars are not brought about like earthquakes by causes that men cannot influence. If we are to achieve peace, there must be a widespread desire for peaceful solutions of difficulties, fair to both sides, for peaceful and a willingness patiently to endeavor to find solutions. Fairness and friendliness, patience and intelligence. These are the moral qualities favorable to peace, and they are qualities not unnatural to human beings. Again, it's kind of pretty optimistic vision. They are imperfectly developed as yet, but they are qualities which are eminently capable of education and growth. And there she sounds a little like her buddy John Dewey. The third condition of world peace is political. Orderly methods of doing what is now done by war, that is, settling clashes between nations, must be organized. For between sovereign states, as between man and man, if there are no courts and no laws, or ineffective ones, there will be lynchings and vigilantes. And now she's, maybe 20 years before this, she was sounding a little more anti-statist or more concerned about the coercive nature of government, but now she's even more mainstream in a way. But okay, it's a metaphor. Arbitration treaties, a world court, an association of nations preventing aggression at once by world opinion and by providing non-violent methods of securing fair demands. These are parts of the necessary machinery of world peace. A great kingdom of peace lies close at hand, ready to come into being if we would but turn toward it. To make it real is the task of the men who live upon the earth at this moment. Again, with the feeling that we might have reached a crossroads, okay? Like if we can commit ourselves to peace or we can be annihilated. But of course, this is before atomic weaponry, but stuff like that's on the horizon. All right, so that's a little bonus episode. Back with Randolph Bourne eventually.